Hi guys, thank you for joining this session. This is second video in AZ104 series. In last video we discussed the fundamentals of cloud computing. I know that the pace of that video was fast, but all the slides we covered were out of the scope for AZ104. If you are a fresher, you may be interested in my next video series that I am working on, which will cover AZ900 in details. Or you may join the live classes I offer. For more details, please reach out to our support team at contact@ikclasses.com. Once again, I thank you all for joining. Let's start with today's topic, Azure Virtual Machines. In this video, we will be discussing about the compute resources offered by Azure. Specifically, this video is focused on Azure Virtual Machines. Suppose you are hired for a company which has its infra running over its own data center. But for some reasons, company wants to migrate to the cloud. The infra is aging, they have some old age hardware resources, they have the option to upgrade the hardware resources, but they have presence in different parts of the world and very little staff to manage. So for this reason, the company wants to move its data to cloud. You are the in charge and you have decided to explore the cloud services. You are exploring all the cloud options available in the market. Let's see how we can use Azure Virtual Machines to cater the needs of the organization. Azure Virtual Machines can be defined as software computers. You can create, delete, or modify the virtual machines as per the demand. Virtual machines falls under infrastructure as a service model, where you have the option to choose your operating system, but you don't have the option to select the underlying hardware resources, which is okay as our organization doesn't want to manage the underlying hardware resources. So Azure VM is the perfect choice for our organization. Let's say that we have some web servers and some database servers. The web servers are running on a Windows operating system while the database servers are running on Linux operating system. Azure offers both the operating system platform, so you can choose which operating system you would like to use. The license is included in the subscription, which you will charge for the Windows license per hour basis. If you already have licenses for Windows or any other operating systems, you're free to use it and you'll only be charged for the compute resources. The virtual machines can be created with the help of few clicks. That's the positive point deploying resources over cloud. You might remember how it took weeks for us to deploy an application on premises. First, we had to order the server, which would take 2 weeks to ship. Then we had to mount it over the rack and then configure it and then deploy the OS and then applications. In cloud, we can do this within minutes. We will see how to deploy the VMs in Azure. The plus point of deploying the VMs in Azure Cloud is that we may scale up or scale down the virtual machines anytime. We could use various features like scale sets, availability zone for high availability of our applications. If we are using Azure virtual machines, we have total control over it. Like we could choose between the operating systems and the software we want to install over that VM. Before deploying any resources, planning is important. Doesn't matter whether you are deploying the resources over cloud or on premise. The planning is important so that all resources can be documented and in future when the organization grows, we can accommodate more resources. Similarly, before creating a virtual machine, we should plan the network configuration, the naming convention that will be used for all the VM and other resources in our subscription, the location where the virtual machine would reside geographically. The location should be as close as the users or customers. The size of the virtual machine, the pricing model, what storage is required, and last but not least, what operating system would we use. The first thing we should decide is network configuration. Like I already mentioned that we have some web servers and some database servers, so on what network and subnet they would reside. What port should we keep open so that the required traffic can communicate with the server? Like for example,
For web server, we should keep port 80 and 443 open so that our customers can access the website. Similarly, for administrators who wants to connect to the server, we should keep port 3389 and SSH port 22 open. Apart from the port numbers, we must decide what IP address space we will be using and should design our network in a way that there is enough room for growth. In Azure, we have a resource named Virtual Network, which provides connectivity between the virtual machine and other Azure services. By default, all the VMs in same virtual network can communicate with each other, and from VMs you can also access internet. However, we can change the configuration as per the requirement. By default, the services outside the virtual networks cannot communicate with the services inside the virtual network. However, we can configure the network to allow the access. You can also connect your on-premise network with your Azure Virtual Network. That's why it is important to plan before placing a VM. We have to specify the address space that we will be using while creating the virtual network. We can use the unroutable address space like 10.0.0.0/8, 172.16.0.0/12, and 192.168.0.0/16. If we plan to connect one virtual network to other, we should make sure the address spaces doesn't overlap. The naming convention is important because we should know by the name of the VM that what does it have, like is it a production server or a test server or the development server? Where is it located geographically? What is the instance number? Like in a farm of web server, what is the number of this server? What is the role of the server? Like, is it a web server, a database server, or an application server? By combining all these factors, we can assign a name to the VMs. And given example can be prod win web 01 that says this is a production server which is which is located in West India region, and this is the web server, and this is the first VM in the web server farm. Different servers required different computing power. Same is the case with the Azure VMs. Depending what workload will the server perform, you may assign the computing power. For example, some VMs are memory optimized, they require more memory to processor ratio, which are great for relational databases. Some are compute optimized, they require high CPU to memory ratio growth for web traffic. Some are storage optimized, which would require high disk throughput. So Azure has different VM sizes that offer VMs according to the requirement. General purpose VMs are ideal for testing and development. Compute optimized VMs suitable for medium traffic web servers, network appliances, batch processes, and application servers. Memory optimized VMs are great for relational database servers, medium to large caches, and in memory analytics. Storage optimized VMs are ideal for VMs running databases. GPU VMs are specialized virtual machines targeted for heavy graphics, rendering, and video editing. High performance compute is the fastest and most powerful CPU virtual machines with optional high throughput network interfaces. Azure also allows you to change the VM size when the existing VMs no longer meet your needs. The Azure subscription will charge for the VM on the basis of compute and storage. Compute utilizes the hardware, whereas storage stores the OS and the user data. The compute costs are priced per hour basis, but you will be billed on per minute basis. So for testing purpose, if you are deploying a VM for 10 minutes, you will be charged only for 10 minutes. Azure won't charge you if the VM is stopped and deallocated. As we already discussed, there are different sizes available in Azure for VM. So according to the size you select, price varies. The cost also includes the operating system license. You will be charged for the storage even if the VM is stopped or deallocated, as the VM still has the OS and its data in the Azure storage. There are two payment options for compute costs: pay as you go and reserved virtual machine instances. With pay as you go, you will be billed for what you use at the end of the billing cycle. The other option is like pay in advance for 1 or 3 years in a specified region. There are benefits for reserved instances, like you may get up to 72% price saving as compared to the pay as you go option. When we create a VM in Azure, we get two disks. One is an OS disk, which contains the operating system, and other is the temporary disk. We can add additional disks to store the user and application data. We are not advised to keep application data in temporary disk, as the disk will be deleted once the machine is restarted. Azure Storage is cloud-based storage where we can store almost any type of data. Azure also keeps data secure and also provide redundancy. Azure provides two types of disks: managed disks and unmanaged disks. In unmanaged disk, user is responsible for the storage account that will be holding the virtual hard disk that corresponds to the VM disk. Storage account rates has to be borne by the user. The storage account is capable of supporting 40 standard virtual hard disks. If you have more requirement, then more storage account will be needed. Managed disks are new and the recommended option. We don't have to manage the storage account. We can specify the size of the disk up to 4 TB, and Azure creates the disk and manages the storage as well. Now that we have planned out all the required details for a VM, let's create a virtual machine. You may use your favorite operating system. I will be using Linux Image for this demo. Creating a virtual machine in cloud is so simple. Few clicks and the VM is ready. The required fields for the VM is, as shown in the slide, you have to specify the subscription. So for creating a VM or any other resource, you must have an Azure subscription, either free or pay as you go or any other subscription. If you don't have an Azure subscription, please watch my last video where you will see the steps to create a free Azure subscription. The second requirement is resource group. Recall from the first video of the series that resource group is a logical container which contains the resources. So no matter what resource are you deploying, the resource group is required. We have to specify the virtual machine name. We will be using our naming convention like environment hyphen location hyphen type. So I'll be using test hyphen CIN, that stands for Central India hyphen web01. So my environment is like test, the location is Central India, and the type is it's a web server, and in the form of web server it's a number one machine. Region, we have to decide where we want to keep our VM. Like in the naming convention, I have already decided that this VM will be in Central India, so I will be selecting the Central India location. There are other requirements too, like availability option, the image you want to use, the size of the VM, and the credentials. So let's create a virtual machine. In a virtual machine, you'll have to log into the Azure portal. The other ways to create the virtual machines are Azure CLI and Azure PowerShell. I'll be using portal because this is simple, but if you want to create bulk machines, you can always use the script via the PowerShell or via the Azure CLI. So you'll have to log in, and I have used my Hotmail account to log into this Azure portal. For creating a virtual machine, I can click on this portal menu. Then I can click on create a resource, and I can go to compute option and then virtual machines. Here I'll have to specify different fields like subscription. So as you can see, there's a red star. That means this is the required field. I only have one subscription in my account, so I'll go with that subscription, MSDN platform supplement. After that, you'll have to specify the resource group. You can specify the existing resource group, or you can create a new one. So what is a resource group? Resource group is nothing but a logical container which will contain all the resources. Not all the resources related to this virtual machine, right? So whenever you are creating a virtual machine, it will also create virtual NIC, virtual network, and virtual disk. So all these resources will also reside in this resource group, the one you will specify here. So I'll click on create new. I'll give it a name, virtual machine demo. Okay. Click on OK. You'll have to specify the name. I'll go with test hyphen the location I want hyphen web 01. Okay. Can specify the location. I'll go with Central India. Where's Central India? Central India. And then you can specify the redundancy. If you require any redundancy, you can select the available options. I'll go with the Ubuntu server. You can select whatever you want. Okay, I'll go with Ubuntu server, and if you want to go with Windows, you can use it. After that, you'll have to specify the size as per your requirement. So this is the test machine, so I'll go with 1 GB, and then you'll have to specify the username and password. I'll go with Azure user and password. After that, you'll have to specify the inbound port rules, means what ports you want to be allowed. For example, SSH is allowed, so SSH will allow me to connect to this virtual machine. So can also enable HTTP and HTTPS, but I don't want it because I'm not creating it as a web server. Yeah, I know I've specified as a web server, but I'm not creating a web server here. So I'll just show you how to connect to this virtual machine once it is created. Just click on review plus create. Once it is reviewed, you will get here validation passed. Once validation is passed, I can submit this, so it will create the virtual machine for me. As you can see here in the notification tab, the deployment is in progress. Once it is completed, you will see the deployment completed, and you can go to the resource and you can connect it. Okay, so let's wait for some time till the deployment is in progress. Deployment is complete. You can go to the resource. There you can, in the overview tab, you can see that we assign this name to the resource group like virtual machine demo. We have used this location, Central India. Similarly, this is the public IP address from which you can connect to this machine. So I'll just copy this public IP address. I'll be using a putty terminal. Let me increase the font size so you can clearly see what is happening over the screen. And let's go to the session. Let's paste the public IP address that we copied, and let's open it. It will ask me for the username. Remember what username we used, and then the password. Yeah, so as you can see, I'm connected to Azure user at the test. This is our virtual machine name. You can verify it by going to the portal. Okay, so that's all, guys. This is how you create a virtual machine, and you can install any software you want over it. If you want to create this as a web server, you can create it as a web server by installing the Apache rule and enabling the HTTPD service. Okay, guys, so this is how you create a virtual machine. I hope this has been informative. And yeah, before closing out, I'll have to tell you that you have created this resource group and the machine is also running. So this is incurring charges. If you are using it for testing purpose, I recommend you to delete this resource group. So it will delete all the associated resource. So let's see, if you go to the resource group, as I told that this is the machine we installed, right? Virtual machine. It has a public IP address. This is also a resource. It has a network security group which allows the 22 port. So this is also a resource. It has a network interface. This is also a resource. It has a disk. This is also a resource. So once I delete the resource group, yeah, but I'm deleting the resource group. It is telling me that type the resource group name. So let's paste it and delete. So in some time the resource group will be deleted and all the associated resources will be deleted. Okay. So be very sure that you're deleting a resource group will delete every resources in that resource group.